Wanted to thank you for all joining us here on this Facebook Live special edition. As you may have seen on many of our social outlets, we've been talking a lot about the Simple Growth Masterminds division, as well as the whole coaching division. So, as people are starting to join live here, we'll give them a few minutes. Traditionally, we do this in a private webinar, but a lot of people are wanting to know how can we actually get some more information regarding the Simple Growth Masterminds and the Simple Growth Coaching Division as a whole. So, going out through my journey in owning a lawn care business for about 25 to 26 years, there was a lot of lessons to be learned. And the whole idea of the Simple Growth Masterminds and Coaching Division came about probably about 18 to 24 months ago. So at that point, we thought it was time that we actually go in and start to share some of the things in my journey of my lawn care business. Things we got right, things we got wrong. And there was a lot of things that we find in our lawn care businesses specifically, that owning a lawn care business is a very, very lonely place as a business owner. You're almost stuck on this isolated island. Your family, your friends, your husband, your wife, they don't understand exactly what you're going through. And going through pretty much all the ups and downs possible in my business, my new purpose after we figured out was to help business owners take their life back from their business. And this is part of the journey that is on the Simple Growth Coaching Division as well as the Mastermind. So to give you a quick background before we jump into the Masterminds and what it's all about, what it can do for your business, started a lawn care business, literally going through high school to pay for gas money in the car. Parents instilled a great work ethic in me. And really, as I went through high school and college, we had several crews on the road during college. I was looking at a lot of different business owners that I really admired in the local area and in the lawn care industry, and specifically construction companies as well, one particular one. But what success in my business looked like at that point, or at least what I thought success in the business looked like, was being the single point of all the communication. So doing the scheduling, the billing, all the estimates, all the interaction with your employees. And by creating this business that literally revolved around me and emulating what I thought success looked like in my local market, I inadvertently had set myself up for failure on a business level as well as a personal level. So fast forward through 5 years of college, hit that pivotal point of really it was going, do we go the corporate route or do we go the entrepreneur route with the lawn care company? So you can guess the route we took. We went through the lawn care route and continued to run that business literally like all the other businesses I saw in my local market, where the business owner was really that single point of failure. Everything kind of came into that business owner. And if they left for a day or two or a week, the business potentially could fall apart. So literally that ended up causing a divorce with the girl I was dating all through high school and college. And literally she left because this business owned my life. So at that point, it was very pivotal in the business that I need to figure out, was I going to keep this lawn care business? Was I going to get rid of it? And I really, at that point, didn't like the lawn care business because it revolved around me. I was the single point of failure for estimating, scheduling, billing, employee issues, recruiting. The list went on and on and on. And I had purposely built that business that way because that's what success looked like in my local market. All the quote unquote successful businesses that I knew, where the business owner was working 70, 80, 100 hours a week, literally. Same thing, 7 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day. So at that point of kind of hitting rock bottom, I went out on the internet and searched for a solution. And when I found a solution was a fully automated, the ability to fully automate your lawn care business. And we went in over several years and automated that business. And literally that business, I went from working 80 to 100 hours a week to 3 to 5 hours a week to an absentee owner 30 days to pop when I wanted to. So as we started to scale this business, there was business growth hurdles along the way that I was unaware of. I would search on the internet, what are the growth hurdles for a lawn care business or a small business? And all I could really find was the growth hurdles and bottlenecks to $100 million company beyond. Those were well documented. Those were out there plentiful. If you look right now on Google and do a search, you can find the bottlenecks and pains of a business running 100 million. But there was nobody out there that literally was able to go out and tell me what were the bottlenecks and hurdles and the things I needed to look at in my lawn care business or service business. And this is where the Simple Growth Mastermind story kind of begins. So I wanted to give you some background on this. So what we've done is actually taken the elite methodology, which I'm going to get into in a minute here and show you what that's all about. And if you hang on during this live or recorded view, I'm going to show you the 5 stages of business for a small business. And I'm going to pretty much within 100 grand either way in revenue, in each one of these stages of business, I'm going to be able to tell you what your next bottleneck and pain is growing and scale your business and actually how to overcome it. So the elite methodology dove into these 5 or 6 stages of business. And then the methodology here of the masterminds is to bring you the tools and the teachings that allowed me to really scale a business and build a leadership team and become a better leader than I needed to be. And then in addition, going in and bringing in industry experts or thought leaders of the service industry that helped me shape my business, some of which of Jonathan Potoshnik, Josh Latimer, Brett Gillian, Corey Schneider, in the home cleaning industry, Debbie Sardone and Martha Woodward, Liz Trotter, to name just a few. But the idea here is that the Simple Growth Masterminds is going to be the opportunity for me to share the exact tools that I used and methodologies to scale well past 7 figures in multiple businesses. Now going on our third 7-figure business, and take that methodology and be able to share that with the lawn care industry. In addition, as we continue to go into our live event in November here, we are introducing and sharing the thought leaders that helped me become a better leader and a business owner and go out through influential people and become basically a better business. So I'm going to break down the 5 stages of business and how we actually do this in the Simple Growth Masterminds. But if you are a business looking to break 7 figures, we've got some answers over the 6 steps of businesses we've developed through the team. And if you've broken $1 million and beyond, that is the threshold. You got to be at least $1 million or beyond to be part of the Simple Growth Masterminds. And the good news is if you're not there, we've got some programs I can tell you about too, to get you to break that $1 million mark. We've got at least 5, I think 6 businesses now in the last month or so who've just graduated past that $1 million mark and dialed in at least the first 3 to 4 steps of the 6 that a business owner needs to really have a successful business with a good foundation. But first, I'm going to open up the screen and kind of talk about the 5 stages of business and then how the elite methodology that we teach in the Masterminds group can go and really enlighten your business. And I'm going to show you exactly how we do it and how it affected my team and now my 3rd business by using this elite methodology that we've licensed specifically just for the lawn care industry. And we're bringing in the 8-figure business experts. It's not me in front of the room all day talking and teaching these things. I've actually brought the teachers that taught me along the way that have scaled businesses literally from $1 million all the way up to 100 million. So we're not talking about folks that have just done $1 million or 2. We're talking about the 8-figure business experts. And then for the folks that are trying to break $1 million, we have a qualified, certified coaching staff of 7-figure business owners that have gone to the 3 to 5 million and beyond mark, up to probably about 10. But that's kind of some foundations and background. But I'm going to pop open the screen here and give you an idea of what we're looking at here. And this is the 5 stages of business here. And if you saw my talk at Service Autopilot Conference last year, we talked about the 5 stages of business. But the 5 stages of business across the top here is literally the stages of business, so 1 through 5. There's really 6 stages, if you ask me. It's 1A, 1B. Across the left here is literally talking about the statistics in the size of your business. So the number of employees, the annual sales, the number of businesses in the United States that are at least legally registered, the team size, and the biggest hurdle. And if you're just joining us in my journey trying to find a way to up-level my lawn care business, it wasn't until I found this piece of information that I actually had a roadmap to where the bottlenecks and the pain points were in a small business. If you go out, there's definitely a lot of information around $100 million companies beyond. But this was developed by a gentleman named Clayton Mass and Scott Martineau over at Fusionsoft, which is now Keep. And this is actually the roadmap part of the elite methodology that we actually have licensed and and do teach in the Masterminds group by Simple Growth. So as we're looking at it here, we've got a stage 1 business. On the other side here on the left, the biggest thing here is your business is a side job. You got a full-time job, and you literally, your bottleneck here on the bottom is time. So how do we have enough time to get the work done outside of our normal job. And what really happens here is stage 1A is we quit our job and we really say, the hell with the man. They're making money off me and it's not fair. So we quit the day job. Or if you're like me, you just literally dive in head first and you kind of start out in stage 1B. But your biggest hurdle there is actually going to be leads. So outside of your general community of friends, family, neighbors, people maybe you're going to church with, once you've exhausted that lead pool, the biggest hurdle here in stage 1B is to be able to get enough leads coming through the door predictably to actually keep the lights on. And as you look at this here across the top in stage 1A, there's 16 million. And in stage 1B, there's about 6 million. Now, this is just the businesses registered with the United States for tax purposes. So if my math's okay here on the webinar here, we're looking at probably about 22 million companies in the stage 1A and B area. And 22 million is just the people paying taxes. So you've got your Chucks in the truck and all the other solo entrepreneurs that are paying cash under the table. My guess is this really isn't 22 million, but there's probably close to 35 or $40 million lawn care companies or small businesses in this matter in this area. This is the biggest chunk of where businesses lie. And the biggest hurdle is the time. And when they become full-time, it's to get enough leads to keep the lights on. So as we come across here, we're going to be going in, and this becomes an operating business. So it's going to be between 100 and 300,000 in annual revenue. There's about 1.7 million small businesses in the United States that fall within this stage 2. And your new employer, you got probably 2 to 3 employees. Now, if you're doing a little more heavier maintenance work, the number of employees may shift by 5 to 10% is what we're seeing, but they're in the ballpark. But basically, your biggest hurdle now is sales. And as we're driving up to the mastermind, our Scale and Scale Plus programs will help people tackle these bottlenecks. But the crazy thing here is that even if you break $1 million, and that's the minimum to get into the masterminds, a lot of people go through our Scale and Scale Plus program to get up to $1 million. None of these bottlenecks disappear. So leads, sales, some of the other ones I'm going to get into, they still stay there. You have to fix these bottlenecks to actually open up that issue. And once again, this is small business work success model here. But the sales issue that you've got going on here is a multifaceted thing. So you need to be able to go out and predictably make sales, whether it's a full-time salesperson or part-time salesperson. And traditionally, it's the business owner, but literally at a certain given amount of time, every day of every week, when you're clocking into that portion of the job, your job is to literally close X amount of sales. It should be tracked. Now, what we traditionally see is most lawn care businesses is that business owners out there doing the work, then they go out and do the sales. So they get a lot of work out from the estimates. They start doing the work. They're running out of work. So we got to pump the sales. And it's a back and forth teeter-totter. And that is a huge, huge bottleneck because we don't have consistent growth within inside that business. In addition to the sales, we need to have some kind of standardized production rate based estimating. So the two types of estimating we traditionally see, well, there's three. The first one's going to be market-based pricing. We go up to a lawn and we say, hey, we think my market deems that to be a $65 an hour cut. Obviously not the way to do it, not what we're recommending. But that's how we all usually start. So let's forget about market-based pricing. But in order to totally clear this hurdle is we need a full-time or at least part-time salesperson hitting certain goals and metrics. We need to have a standardized estimating system, whether it's time-based, so how many hours we think or minutes it's going to take to the job times an hourly rate with a budgeted time and cost over the profit, or hopefully we evolve into a production rate based estimating system. So we can go online, we can measure this lawn, and the software will automatically kick out a non-emotional price based on square footage, a price, budget, time, and cost before profit. Once the majority of that is built out into your sales system at stage number 2, you've alleviated 99% of that bottleneck. So what I'm going to say is when you get between 100 to 300,000 at stage 2, 99% of the companies do not fix that issue in their business, but they put their head down and through sheer grit and determination, they get into stage 3. And stage 3 here is going to be between $300 and $1 million. And this is where the majority of the businesses are living and dying. There is about 1.9 million, so about 0.2 million more or 200,000 more of these businesses from stage 2. It's one team, so the business owner is the leader, probably going out and doing all the recruiting, the hiring, the training, but it's one team. And your biggest bottleneck here is marketing and services. So the scariest part here in the beginning is, do we have a rinse and repeat marketing system? So this is one of the things that we teach in the Simple Growth Masterminds. And one of my mentors, Jonathan Potoshnik, of the Lawn Care Millionaire, co-founder of Service Autopilot, who's actually be joining us live for a private Q&A session talk at our live Masterminds event. And we do those quarterly in Dallas. Is a site this quarter coming up in November. But we have live quarterly events where we bring these expert speakers in top of the existing coaches for Simple Growth. But one of the things Jonathan is one of the thought leaders that we're bringing to the live event taught me is marketing and how to actually create a marketing acquisition plan. But really what you need to know is like how much it costs you to acquire a client. Imagine all your perfect clients, as Jonathan would say, are in this vending machine. And if it costs $100 to get a new client, every time you put $100 in that vending machine, your perfect client kicks out. And based on having marketing and data inside from your sales and your marketing and your service systems, we know that it costs X amount of dollars to acquire a client. And we know how much they're going to be worth over their client lifetime value. And we know approximately how long they're going to last. So we've got to build out a marketing system that's predictable and repeatable outside of word of mouth. That's going to be your first bottleneck in stage number 3. The next thing is stage number 3 is service. So the issue here is the business owner is now going out and hiring people that they don't know. And the people that they don't know, based on the size of their team of 4 to 10 employees, is actually out there doing the work. So what we need to do is create standardized services with standardized training and quality and processes around how to service that. And when we talk about the Simple Growth 6 stages of business, this is where stage 3 becomes very important. We want to create a simple business of 3 to maybe 5 services that we can go up here and get up to about $1.5 million to $2 million before we start adding additional services we cross-sell. We're creating service offerings that are simple, replicatable, and delegatable, and they don't revolve around the business owner. So if we go from stage 3 to stage 4, this is our $1 million mark. So congratulations if you're watching this. You've broken the $1 million mark. You are an elite business. You are in the top 5 to 7% of all businesses in the United States. And there's about 700,000 of you in all industries, believe it or not. And what happens is most people hit this bottleneck of marketing and service, and they never, ever get past stage 4 or to stage 4, or they get there and they basically shrink back. Because the biggest bottleneck here in this small business success model here is people and systems. And this is where the Simple Growth Masterminds picks up. So if you're trying to scale a business up to $1 million and beyond, our Scale and Scale Plus with one-on-one coaching and live yearly events get you there. But when you break $1 million, this is what the Mastermind's about. When I hop into the next screen or two, I'm going to break down how we do this. It's kind of the agenda that we do. But I want to give you some context where you're at and where you're going to go. But if you break that 7-figure mark, you're an elite business. Congratulations. Like, this is something you should definitely take some time, if you haven't done, and celebrate. But the pain is not over with. Is it easier to run $1 million plus company? Absolutely. But this is where your skill set to get to $1 million and then go from $1 million to beyond to maybe 2, 3, 5, or 10 million is going to be completely different. And the first bottleneck that's going to revolve around that is people and systems. So if you remember in stage 3, the business owner is hiring people now that they don't know that are doing the work. Now at stage 4, you've got people you've hired that you don't know that are now hiring people they don't know. So we need basically a people system. And how do we go in and build multiple teams and multiple leaders? So the idea here is that most likely you as the business owner do not have the skill set or the leadership ability to be the leader you need to be to go from $1 million to 2 million or 3. So that first needs to be taken care of. And then the systems. So how do we go out and automate some of these processes? How do we go in and create simple systems to actually go out and make it delegatable and be able to have key metrics or KPIs? We're going to dive into a scorecard to show you an example of some of these systems that you're going to need into place if you want to go from $1 million to 2 to 3 to 5 to 10. But people and systems are your bottleneck there. There's about 700,000 businesses between 1 to 3 million in the whole United States. Now, as we get into stage 5, that's 3 to 10 million. This is a super elite group. probably 3, maybe 5% of the whole entire country. I'd wager probably 3 to 4% of all small business, but there's about 300,000 in the whole United States. And your issue here now is leadership and culture. So now at stage 4, you're becoming the leader you need to be. But now at stage 5, you need to create mini leaders underneath you that have the same leadership skill set. And then we need to go in and start to build in stage 4, but really it gets really important in stage 5, a culture. And what we're going to do is go in and create a purpose. Why does the business exist? And what's our driving North Star? And we're going to get into more detail this in a minute. But this is what we do in the masterminds group. And we go in and set a mission. And it's not your traditional mission, it's like a corporate mission you think, but it's really a 3 to 5 year mission. And we line it out on like this Mount Everest. We're at base camp right here. But at year 1, year 2, year 3, we're at the summit. What does that look like with non-emotional numbers and a clear roadmap? So we've got these new workers coming in. The paychecks aren't really motivating them anymore, but they're aligning to a purpose. We're going to talk about A players, but A players need to know if they're winning or losing. So do you have the clarity in the people and the systems and the culture to let them know if they're winning, what winning looks like, and how do we win? And then culture. At first, I thought this was kind of funny. It wasn't going to work in a lawn care company, but we've got our purpose, we got our mission, we got our mission strategies, how we're going to get to that goal, 3 to 5 years. Next thing is culture. We're looking at core values, things that we live by. And when we really get really clear and bring the team on those core values, we're going to go out and actually hire, train, and eventually coach up and coach out, or basically fire to the misalignment of those core values. And we get really clear about that. It's not just a lawn mowing company or a landscape company or snow removal company. It's a greater cause. And a lot of people have said that this can't happen in a service business. But I will tell you, we've got 45 or 50 companies now that have gone through this, and it's an exponential change. And when I found this process here that I'm going to open up, the lawn care company, I was basically an absentee owner at this point. The gentleman running the business was doing a great job, but it started to look like his ideologies. We started to have a lot of employees leaving after the summer months and not coming back next year if they weren't doing snow removal more. So I kind of inserted myself as a leader again and said, hey, let me take a couple of these exit interviews. And for instance, let's say Dave, just appreciate your work this summer, but why are you not coming back to Callahan's Lawn Care? Is it the guy running the business? No, guy running the business, great guy. I don't love him, don't hate him, but respect him. And he's doing a good job. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to hear. Is it the seasonality? No, I'm okay with the seasonality. I've always had a seasonal job. I'm like, all right, well, the only thing it could be is pay. Are we not paying you enough for this job? Is that why you're not coming back? And resoundingly enough, 99% of those employees leaving that were A players weren't leaving because of the pay. They said, no, Mike, the pay is great. We're actually making more money here than we did at most of the other competitors. But that's all it is. It is a paycheck. And there's nothing else to your business besides a paycheck. And at this point, the light came on. So what I did is I once again went back on the internet and remember these 5 stages of business and this elite methodology. So I spent a massive amount of money and we flew out to Phoenix, Arizona, myself, the gentleman running the business, and we brought some other people occasionally. But what we did is we got really clear on what I'm going to show you. And this was the defining moment in my business and at least 45 or 50 other businesses we've done this through. So the idea of the Simple Growth Mastermind is I want to take the elite methodology that we've been doing for about 24 months now in the masterminds and share this with the lawn care community and let you liberate your business and the people within it and let them own it. And this is going to help you hire and retain A players. And then the second part, through our live events and our monthly webinars, I've gone out and through my networking and relationships, gone out and got the big thought leaders to come to these live events and speak in the same room. You can ask them questions. So if you haven't heard about our November event for the live masterminds group, the speakers that we've released is Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire, co-founder Service Autopilot, who owns City Turf. We've got Josh Latimer, who founded SendGym and has sold 2 7-figure service businesses to equity. He's got over 1 million podcast downloads from his business podcast. And then we've got Debbie Sardone, who is arguably one of the biggest consultants in the cleaning industry that I've learned a lot about. And then if you hang out and watch Facebook here in the next day or two, we've got 2 more high-level industry experts that are going to be joining us. So we've brought my 8-figure business coaches that have coached me, and I've also now brought in the thought leaders and the expertise people across the whole United States and Canada in there. In addition, we're doing 2 shop tours. So you can go into a multi-million-dollar company. You can talk to their office. You can talk to their HR department. You can see how the trucks are set up, how they roll out. But that's what we're getting to the masterminds. It's monthly one-to-manys webinars we teach. We're bringing industry experts along with our internal 8-figure business experts that we've got, including Dan Relfs. It's live events where I bring other industry experts in our 8-figure business team. Shop tours. In addition, we do something called the hot seat. So once again, owning a lawn care business is lonely, and we've got questions. We kind of need that emotional therapy support questions to bounce things off of. So what we've done is literally gone in and give you a monthly hot seat where you're paired up with businesses of approximately the same size, million beyond, or if you're a sub-million group, and you can bring your questions. We go through this process where these other business owners are going through the same thing, or have already seen what you've done, are asking qualifying questions, and they give you solutions, and we follow back the next month for accountability. So really, really powerful stuff. So this is the stuff that I went through. What I'm going to do is open up the screen here and kind of give you an idea of what we tackle in the elite methodology. So this mastermind's agenda here is month number 1. We go in and literally get down to the work, and we set they set it off. So what we're going to do is we go in and get really clear on your purpose, your values, and your mission goals. So once again, that purpose is that guiding light. So here at SimpleGrowth, everybody lives and breathes around we help business owners take their life back from their business. And that's our guiding light. So at Callahan's Lawn Care, we give you the lifestyle you desire. That was actually twofold. One for our internal clients, our internal employees, because we wanted to give them the lifestyle they desired, so good work-life balance. We also wanted to give our clients that lifestyle that they desired, to be able to go out and enjoy a greatly maintained landscape and not worry about the maintenance while they're at their kid's football game or soccer game. So it was really twofold, but that was the guiding principle. So we're going to set that purpose. That's our North Star. Then we're going to go in here and we're going to set up our mission. And our mission is not like your traditional missions. And we talked about this earlier. Imagine our mission is Mount Everest and this image. And the 3-year goal is up on the summit up top. But we're down here at the base camp this year. So as we go from the base camp and we go to next year, we have 3 literally clearly defined non-emotional metrics. So maybe it's a revenue goal, number of clients, number of crews, but we know what success looks like. And we're going to go in and I'm going to talk about how we plan and actually achieve that. But we've got this 3-year goal. And by the time we get to the top of this Everest mission, we know what it clearly looks like. It's $3 million in sales. It's 20 trucks, 1,500 reoccurring fertilizing clients, whatever that number is, that's that non-emotional number. So we're going to go in and set your purpose, why you exist. We're going to set your mission, and the mission goals to get you that mission. That's our BHAG. Jim Collins called it his big, hairy, audacious goal. So that's where we're going with this. And we don't just teach this stuff in our live events. We actually get these big Post-it notes on the wall, and we're workshopping this stuff. And we recommend bringing people from your team here and getting them to buy in. And actually be part of this transition that's just amazing. But once we've gotten clear on our purpose and our mission and mission goals, the next thing is our values, our core values. What are the 3 to 5 core things that we live and die by? And we're going to really get really clear on those. And the team's going to memorize them. They're going to breathe them in everything they do. But really, core values. We're going to use those as our guiding principle to hire and retain A players. So we're going to hire to our core values, make sure it's a good culture fit. We're going to train to our core values. Our monthly or our quarterly reviews or annual reviews are around some of that quarterly value, the fit. And finally, unfortunately, we're going to have to coach up or coach out some of those employees. But we're going to be really clear if they're in conflict with our core values. So if one of our core values is we do what we say we'll do, and one of our crew leaders says, I'm going to go back and fix that yard that we forgot to blow off the back patio yesterday, and they don't do it, that's in conflict of that core value. So now that's a very candid conversation that you're not in alignment with the company's values, and we can coach you up. And if you don't align, you as a business owner are going to be very clear and have no choice but to let that person go. And that's the biggest issue that we have in our businesses, because we aren't really clear. And as we break that $1 million mark, your leadership skills, at least in my opinion, myself, were not where they needed to be. I needed to work on these. And that's what we teach you, how to become the leader you need to be. Clayton Mass, the CEO of Keep, one of the things he said is, I'm not the leader I need to be to take us to that next level right now, but I'm going to be. And Clayton was very, very clear and committed to building his leadership skill of not only himself, but his leadership team. And that's how we overcome those blocks and hurdles in the business. And this is what we're doing. So I'm taking this methodology here that I learned probably 8 or 9 years ago, and I'm bringing it to the lawn care community, because that serves my purpose of helping business owners take their life back from the business and not fall back into the pitfalls of some of the things I did in my original lawn care business. So that's going to be month number 1. We get really clear on the purpose, values, mission, and mission goals. Now, month number 2, we really get into those mission strategies. And once we have that clear vision of purpose, values, and missions and mission goals, we focus on how you're going to achieve those missions. And you're going to learn how to say yes powerfully to the strategies that are going to enable you to enable your mission. So what we're going to be doing is literally going in and doing strategic planning and getting really clear on it. But it's just not you, the business owner. We're going to teach you and bring your team in to help you facilitate this for buy-in. But when we're doing this, we're going to go in and set up quarterly and annual planning. And certain people on your team are going to take responsibility for some of these priorities. And we're going to go in and drive on them and improve the systems and people in the business. And those are the hurdles in that stage 5 and stage 4 business that we talked about. And what we're going to do is help you draft those missions. And then one-on-one, we're going to view in real time those mission strategies and how to get really clear and start diving those in. So the final part here, as we go into month number 3, is we go in and start talking about the core values and how to get really clear on them. And once we get really clear on them, we're going to go in and discuss the process around hire, lead, and fire to the vision, and discuss having the right people contributing to your business and how to hire, lead, and fire to your vision. And this is something they don't teach in school, folks. At least they did in my college 5 years later. Business owners are never taught this, but this is what we need. And I will tell you, it is a recipe for success. So we go in and actually take a look at that. The next thing is we go in and actually look at something we call the big 3. So the big 3 is creating accountability for each person on your team. So your salespeople may have 3 distinct goals. So imagine if you were doing some sales over the phone during the winter. Your salesperson, your SDR, could be required to make 80 to 100 calls a day, 2 booked appointments, and have 80% of them show up. Not exactly a lawn care statistical number, but the idea is there's 3 non-emotional things that are rated like a stoplight: green, yellow, and red. So now when you've hired an A player, these are the things. If they can only do 3 things a day, they need to do it. So like a crew leader on a lawn care company would be clocking in and out of every job through the mobile device, making sure the fence and gates are locked and shut behind you, and everything is trimmed, blown off, and not clumpy. Whatever those 3 variables are for that crew leader, they would be ranked on that on a daily basis and summarized for the week. Public accountability. So if that crew leader can do only 3 things, what are the big 3 that they're doing? Now, we talked about hiring A players and people and systems being a bottleneck. But the idea here is once you hire an A player, my guess, at least in my case in the early days, is I would kind of train them, throw them out on the truck, and let them run that schedule. It wasn't clearly defined what success looked like and how was it measured and how was it rewarded. So if you're sending your crews out there and you have not told them what winning looks like, really what you're doing is going to a sports game with no scoreboard. How many pro athletes would stick around on a team if they didn't know if they're winning or losing? They didn't know what winning looked like. So you need to clearly define what winning and winning looks like with public accountability. And this is going to go eventually into a meeting cadence. But we need to set that big three in there. And the final thing that we do in that month is really going in and building a future org chart. So the old saying is, when you need an employee, starting to look from when you need them is too late. So when's the best time to plant a shade tree 20 years ago? When's the next best time? Today. But what we want to do is go out and proactively see, what does our organizational chart look like in the future? So once again, this is something we workshop on the walls, but we actually build out this org chart with roles and responsibilities for our future BHAG up in 3 years. And there's no names on it. And then eventually we go in and say, okay, based on our current staffing, whose names are on all these different areas? So what I realized in my business the first time I did this is that I had set up the guy running my business up for failure, literally inadvertently. Why wasn't he crushing it in one native genius, but he was good or average at all of them? Well, the guy was wearing 10 to 15 different hats. So by building up this org chart with no names and eventually assigning people who are doing it now currently, it's going to give you a non-emotional way to see who is the next person you're going to hire. We're also going to get really clear on roles and responsibilities within that org chart, so we know who's doing what and they're accountable through that big three methodology. So as we roll into the fourth month of this process here, we're going to go into our quarterly planning and execution. So we're going to help you implement that big three and the strategic objective, but we're actually going to go in and show you how to facilitate, or if you need help facilitating, we can obviously help you. But we're going to go in and set up quarterly and annual planning. So if we're at 1 million and we want to be at 2 million by the end of this year, what are the things we have to do each quarter in order to get there? And what are the weaknesses in the business? So is it quality control? Is it estimate systems? Is it customer follow-up? Is it accounts receivable? These are all processes and systems that can be documented through our quarterly and annual process. And what we do is we walk through a process we call SWOT plus. So it's a SWOT analysis plus a little magic sauce. But it's strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. And then the plus areas where we actually get our strategic objectives and bring together some of these in a very unique way that makes it really easy for the team to list them all and then rank the top, say, 3 to 5 objectives that we're going to do that quarter. And then we actually have that person own them and report out every week where they're at in that objective. And that's how you start working on the business and not in the business, as Michael Gerber said. But before that $1 million mark, it's a team of one usually. You as the business owner don't have the time usually or the bandwidth to handle all these strategic objectives and get through these bottlenecks. So we're going to help facilitate that with a process there. And then we're looking at other things along the way. So how do we go in and create better analysis around sales and statistics and create sales and marketing systems that are predictable? How do we go in and bring in your team now to help them better facilitate these quarterly and annual plannings? And then how do we look at just the things that come up throughout the year, such as random things like COVID or inflation or any of these other things that may be happening in the future? We do address the current issues along the way. But a very high level, we're going to get really clear on that purpose, the vision, the mission, the strategies behind it, quarterly and annual planning. How do we create a scoreboard for those A players so they know when they're winning and losing? And then how do we build mini leaders within the leadership? And then you as the business owner, how do we create a process for you to evolve as a leader? As Clayton Mass said, I'm not the leader. I'm going to be here at 2 million when I get to 5 million, but I'm going to evolve through some of these teachings and processes with the elite methodology to be there. So that's really a high level overview. And I hope that makes sense. If you have any comments or questions, put them in the chat. Diving in to give you a high level overview here. It's right on the SimpleGrowth website, simplegrowthsystems.com, or really not everybody qualifies for our sub-million or $1 million plus group. Best bet is really go to sgscall.com and book a qualifying call. And we're going to be really honest with you if you qualify or not, where the biggest bang for your buck is going to be. But I want to give you a quick overview of some of the bench of our masterminds team, the $1 million plus business experts and the 8-figure business experts. So I've kind of did my spiel about my background and where I'm at. Obviously on the team, I really don't do a lot of the teaching. I facilitate some of the workshopping in that. We brought in Dan Relfs. He's our 8-figure business expert, along with Brett Gillian. And both these guys were in the seat of going from about 10 million in this company to 100 million and then to 200 million. These guys have seen this firsthand. They've lived it. And they come in and actually help teach this. And Brett has been nice enough to license the elite methodology. And the elite methodology, we've taken that methodology and adapted it to exactly the lawn care landscape industry. So it's not any random industry. We know how it plays in our particular industry. In addition, we've got a bunch of our 7-figure coaches here, guys all running 7-figure plus, some of them multi-million dollars, all the way up to $10 million companies currently. These guys own businesses. There's several other coaches here, but these are the main guys you'll see pretty much every month on the webinars and in the live events. But we do bring more of the people in kind of my ecosystem that I know that are running these businesses currently. So it's not just guys who have exited the business. It's guys that are still living it. So Alec over at Aaron Sutfield, Garrett Matthews, we did a huge shop tour over Garrett Matthews' shop, well more north of probably 8 or 9 million in annual sales, but we're able to sit down with the schedule, the office, the GM, the accounting. We'll be able to, and you can dive in and actually see at these live events. And then we've got Andrea here, who is all things executive assistant for me, and she helps manage and facilitate the group as far as the different times and the different events, and keeps everything in order. But if you do go to our website, there's some videos with Aaron, Dan, Ralphs, and myself. And that agenda I talked about is here. And then we do deviate from that, but just gives you a rough idea of kind of what we're looking at. But you don't have to take my word for it. We've got testimonials from our first event and other events here of people at Garrett's shop in the after-hour party. But this isn't at Garrett's shop here, and you're able to walk around and see this. But these folks tell you what it's all about, and what it means to them and what it's been like to actually be part of this group of like-minded business owners. But Are You Fit really is, the masterminds itself is exclusive for $1 million plus companies. We have our Scale Plus, if you're not $1 million, and that's one-on-one coaching with accountability and webinars and once a year shop tours. We just got back from Nashville, Tennessee, where we had 2 days of coaching and a third day for networking, partying, poolside. But our Scale Plus is before $1 million with coaching one-on-one. Masterminds has got to be $1 million plus. The best bet's really, if you're interested in this, go to sgscall.com. If you're interested in that, hit that up. If you're on our website as well, I haven't broken $1 million, but this scale thing seems interesting. If you go under Mastermind and hit scale here, that's going to pull up the scale business. And we talk about the 6 steps here. And Aaron's highlighting those, but those 6 steps of a business right now, I'm not going to jump into kind of some of these metrics that you may want to be looking at in scaling this 7-figure well beyond business. But basically, as we go into these 6 steps, first one is being able to manage your time, blocking out at least 4 hours a week to work on that business, not in it, as Michael Gerber would say, time blocking management, not fighting fires constantly. Second one is going in and manage your finances. So do we know what it costs to operate per hour? Do we know our break even? What we should be charging per revenue per division? Do we have our books in order? Are we using a bookkeeper, someone in-house? Are we robbing the business personally to make that work? Are we paying a fair market wage? Just some of the stuff we talk about there. Step number 3 here is going to be creating that simple business. I talked about that a little bit earlier. That simple business is a core to 3 to 5 services we're building up. They're simple, they're delegatable, they're replicatable. That's going to get through those bottlenecks. Stage 4 and stage 5. And as we do that, eventually we can go up, get to $1.5 million, $2 million, we start to cross sell. But how do we create a simple business? And within that simple business, really, we dive in and we like to organize the business and then eventually automate and delegate. So it's not just creating a simple business, but simple processes that can be delegated for predictability. And then as we go into our step number 4, we're going to hire 8 players. And once we get those 8 players, we talked about it. We need culture, we need mission, vision, values. We need that big 3 so they know if they're winning or losing. And how to retain them and build a culture around that. Step number 5 is really an acquisition model. How do we go out and acquire new clients? So I was talking about that vending machine, your perfect clients in it. How do we go out and create a predictable rinse and repeat without the business owner acquisition system? And finally, step number 6 is our leadership systems and model. And that is the elite methodology. So as you go through scale, we tackle 3 to 5 of those steps, get you to $1 million. And then we start working on the leadership model, everything I just showed you here from the agenda. So to wrap it up, if you have any questions, put it in here. If you're interested to see if you qualify for Scale Plus or our masterminds, it's sgscall.com. And this is a scorecard. I give good credit where credit's due. But we use this with our one-on-one consulting. It was built and developed by Garrett Matthews of Matthews Tree and Pest out of Shreveport. Garrett is one of our 7-figure coaches as well as mastermind facilitators. But the idea here is off to the left here, we've got something called a rolling 12. So we're comparing it a 12-month roll. And you're going to be putting your annual revenue in here. So this would be 22 and 24, or 2022 and 23. This was updated, but just a sample of it. But basically, we're putting it in. We got our monthly difference in growth. And where are we at based on our projections for the year? Second thing we've been looking at is our overall payroll percentages, direct and indirect. And based on your industry, there's certain percentages we'd like to see you fall within. And we're going to be looking at our cost of goods, direct payroll, cost of goods, indirect, our estimators, our office, maybe our virtual assistant. There's certain things we need to be tracking. So if you aren't tracking these numbers on a monthly basis, it's a scary place to be. And if you've never seen these numbers, this is why you should reach out to sgscall.com, book a call, see if you qualify for our scale or our masterminds group. Total our attrition rates, how many people are canceling, and what does that do to your business? So how do we track that on a rolling 12? And hopefully your attrition rate's not at 40% here in this example, but this is where we've got to look at this. And then finally, we're looking at our sales goals. So if you remember those 5 stages of business, we've just hit all of them. Leads, marketing, people and systems. And then we're going to go into process on stage 4 and stage 5. But we need to be tracking that sales model here. So how many leads, how many clients, was our closing ratio, was our yearly difference? What was the total ad spend? What was the cost per lead? The client acquisition cost? And eventually, what's the average client lifetime value for those 12 months? And once we dial that all in, Garrett's made this amazing little sandbox. What if? So on the left here, in this example, this business is getting 170 new clients. Cancellation rate's really high, 40%, but not unusual. We do see that. If you're not tracking it, it can be high. And the yearly client value is $1,798. So right now, based on that client value, they have a ceiling. This company, if nothing changes, can never get past $772,000 in sales. That's a lot what we see when people come into either the masterminds or even the scale group. They don't know what the ceiling is. They don't track these metrics. So these are things you should be tracking every month by the 10th of the previous month. So if it's August, September 10th, 15th, you should be tracking this. In the sandbox here, if nothing happened, but this company literally just changed their cancellation rate and through the strategic quarterly or annually objectives and built a process system around and said, you know what, we're going to be kind of back in the good like everybody else. We're going to drive 40% attrition down to 15%. What this business has done, not changing anything else, but just quality and retention, it went from $722,000 in sales, the biggest it could ever get, to a $2 million company ceiling by just pulling one little lever. And we have a client in our scale group that currently had stats very similar to this. And that's how they broke that $1 million mark extremely quick. Because if no one holds you accountable to these metrics and they don't show you the metrics, they don't show you a methodology and help you get comfortable with these numbers, you never know. So what I bring to the table here, folks, is what has helped me in my business. The elite methodology to how to build a culture, get really clear on a purpose, how to get clear on a mission, where we're going in three years, our big, hairy, audacious goal, as Jim Collins calls it. How do we set mission strategies and goals all along the way to get to that Everest mission? How do we include our team and get really clear on core values? It's going to be our driving principles of how we hire, train, and fire. And then how do we incorporate the team in to go in and set quarterly and annually objectives where people own those objectives? It's not the business owner. People are going in and investing in your business and helping it grow, and they're invested in it. And then how do we take those 8 players that we got in step 4? And how do we take those 8 players and let them know if they're winning or losing and create public accountability? And oh, by the way, those 8 players are going to be driven by the culture of those core values and the purpose that you've set together. But if you want the secret winning success of what that looks like in your business, you've got to do these things. So that's what the mastermind's about. I'm bringing you the elite methodology and the 8-figure business experts and other business owners that are in my inner circle that all own 7 to 8-figure businesses in the room to help support and facilitate. So we're not just teaching, but we're workshopping, knee to knee with you in person and virtually. So there's 4 quarterly events live, and there's monthly webinars. And when you first start out, there's several one-on-one calls with the 8-figure business experts to help you get really clear on setting your purpose, setting your mission strategies, helping you work through your core values, how to implement your annual quarterly priorities, and how to build the big 3. So I wanted to take the secret sauce that I learned that was instrumental in now building 3 businesses, breaking the 7-figure marks, and bring them to you. So that's part of it. And then, in addition, what was the other influential thing in my life of business? It was being surrounded by different thought leaders. So what we're doing, for example, for this November event, is we still got the 8-figure business experts, SimpleGrowth coaches, but we're bringing in industry leaders. So of the speakers we've released already in November for our small, intimate, private group, Jonathan Potoshnik of the Lawn Care Millionaire, co-founder of Service Autopilot, also owns City Turf, well in excess of, I believe, 10 million in annual sales. I've got Josh Latimer, who scaled 2 businesses bought out by equity, founded Send Gym as a podcast when he moved to Costa Rica to help other business owners that had over 1 million downloads. It's been on well over 100 stages, and that just scratches the surface of what this guy's got. He's going to be in the room again with us. In addition, Debbie Sardone, probably one of the biggest influencers and thought leaders in the service industry, specifically in cleaning. I've learned more from the cleaning industry than I have from the lawn care industry, if we're going to be honest. So we're bringing Debbie in. Debbie's going to go in and have a great talk. At the end of it, it's talking about how to fire the CEO, basically how to fire yourself and let this business run itself. And then in about 10 minutes, I'm going to be going live and announcing speaker number 4, and tomorrow, speaker number 5, and where our, at the end of the event, special event is, where we do free transportation, food, drinks, and it's a networking thing. So you not only get all this education, we're building a community and lifelong relationships and support. So you're no longer on that island by yourself. In addition, every month we have a hot seat where you bring your problems and you help business owners. You get help yourself and you help other business owners walk through the problems that you're going through. And we have a live monthly webinar, private Facebook group, just to mention a few things. So if any of this sounds of interest, sgscall.com, see if you qualify. If you're under 1 million, recommend the Scout Plus group. You get a one-on-one coach. You still get the hot seats, still get the monthly webinars, once a year shop tour live event like we did in Nashville. We've broken the 7-figure mark, masterminds. We need to work on the people, systems, and leadership and culture. And that's what we dive into. So I want to thank you for anybody who's watching this live or recorded. But it really is my purpose right now to help business owners take their life back from the business and share the influential things that have been life-changing in my business, in my lawn care business specifically, and now my other businesses. How do we bring that to the lawn care industry? And this is it. So we're going on about 24 months now of the mastermind's existence and Scale Plus, sgscall.com. And if you want to join us live in Dallas, Texas, November 7th and 8th, hang out with my 8-figure business coaches and experts on the SimpleGrowth team, Jonathan Potoshnik, Joshua Latimer, Debbie Sardone, and 2 heavy hitters equally, 2 shop tours, networking live event with food and drinks, and way more. sgscall.com. Talk to one of our team members, see if you qualify. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you in Dallas, but time is of the essence because based on the methodology here of the agenda, I open up here real quick. We are going to onboard you before you get to Dallas on purpose, values, mission, and mission goals, mission strategies, how to hire, fire, lead to the vision, big 3. And we're going to workshop some of that future org chart and a few of the items live in the room to make sure you and your team, if you bring them in to Dallas, I'll take part in that. So time is of the essence if this is something you want to do, and get onboarded and be able to be up to speed for our live Dallas event. Once again, those happen quarterly. So next one will be February, May, and August is about what we're running them. But they are in different locations. They include shop tours, networking, party event afterwards, my 8-figure business team, my 7-figure coaches from Simple Growth that are certified, and industry thought leaders and experts that we bring in throughout the webinars and the live events. So hoping to see you in Dallas, Texas. sgscall.com, Mike Callahan, Simple Growth team, where our purpose is to help business owners take their life back from the business and help owning a lawn care business not be a lonely place anymore, but a place for support, success through the elite methodology, industry experts, and a community that we're building within this team. So hopefully to hear from you soon. sgscall.com. It's a calendar link, and somebody will see where you qualify. If you qualify, not everybody qualifies for the Masterminds group or Scale Plus. It's only businesses are committed and have the right attitude. And probably 15 to 20 businesses over the last 24 months have actually been turned down, because we want businesses that are the right fit for the culture of the group. The group is great. It's not about the money. It's about building the right culture and the right ecosystem of people within the Masterminds and Scale Plus. And some of these also include one-on-one consulting, remote and in person, and optionals for our team to fly in and work with you knee to knee to help set up some of those annual strategies and things we're talking about here as well. So sgscall.com, hoping to see you on our next live webinar, September, I believe, 14th for the Simple Growth Mastermind. So I'm hoping if you sign up now and you qualify, you'll be getting a book in the mail, and we'll be seeing you on our first webinar. And see you live, meet you in person, knee to knee in Dallas. sgscall.com, Simple Growth Systems. Mike Callan here, helping business owners take their life back from the business.